Hello and welcome to liveconfident.com, and in today's live stream I want to talk about that really difficult 5-second window of time where, let's say, you're in a social environment and you're sitting by yourself and you see somebody that you'd like to approach and talk to, but something in your mind, that little inner voice, somehow it always talks you out of doing it. And so what this live stream is all about, and in fact it's going to be the first of 5 live streams, a series of 5, because this is a 5-part solution, and it's going to be about how you overcome that roadblock in your mind that stops you from acting on impulses when you have something that you want to do, but you always talk yourself out of it. When you want to approach something, when you want to do something, when you want to, well, maybe it's at work and you want to talk to the boss and get a promotion, or you want to ask for a pay rise, or you want to be on a particular job within your company. But to do that, it involves talking to somebody, maybe somebody on the next level up in the hierarchy of your company, your boss or a senior boss, an area manager, a regional manager, whatever it may be, wherever you are in your company. Maybe in order to do what you need to do to advance within that company, you've got to have a conversation with somebody. But that roadblock in your mind is stopping you from doing it, always stopping you. Maybe it's social, so like I said, maybe you're in a social setting and it happens quite frequently. You're a single person maybe, and you see somebody you like the look of and you would just love to go up and talk to them and say, hey, what about a date? Do you want to go out with me? Let's go for a coffee, let's go for a meal, let's do this, But always that little voice in your head stops you from doing it. It's that little roadblock that forever stands in between you and acting on these little daily life decisions, which can lead to nothing, maybe a little bit of embarrassment, or it can lead to something. And that something can lead to everything. So how many times, maybe, I'm going with the example that you're a single person, but you may not be. But this is applicable to everyone. But let's say you are single and you see people that you like the look of in your daily life, but you never approach them, you never talk to them. You see your mates do it, you see other people do it, and they do it so easily and freely. Maybe you're in a club with them or a bar and they see some girls, or if you're a girl and your friends see some boys and you want to talk to them, and always one of your friends or a few of your friends, they can do it without any problem. They'll just go up to them and talk to them, and they'll banter back and forth and have a good time, and everyone will be relaxed. And you're thinking, well, how did that happen? How can you do that? What's your secret? And maybe you're on your own and you see somebody you'd like to approach and you just can't. But what if you did? And you said, hey, what about going for a coffee sometime or something else? And they said yes. And you went out for a date, and then it led to something else, and before you know it, you're in a relationship. How many relationships have you potentially lost out on because you couldn't get over that roadblock in your mind to actually just approach that person in the first place and start that initial conversation, that initial connection? It's that little voice, right? And what is it telling you? But more importantly, why you're giving it a chance to talk to you in the first place. Why you're giving it a chance to talk you out of doing it. Now, I said that this is a 5-stage process. It's a progress as well. But it's a 5-stage process that I've developed and formulated. And in this live stream, I'm going to talk about part 1 of this 5-step process. which is going to get you from, and let's stick with the example that let's say you're in a bar or in a social setting, a party, a wedding venue, and you're there and you're by yourself, you're sitting alone, maybe you're nursing a drink, and you see somebody across the room and you would love to just approach them. You like the look of them and you'd love to just approach them and get a conversation going, but it never happens. So this 5-part process is getting you from sitting on that stool to actually being in a free-flowing conversation with that person. 5 steps to get from here to here. And today we'll deal with step 1. And that is actually making the decision and getting moving from, so we're starting from a sitting position and we're getting you moving. That's stage 1. That's probably the hardest part of all, is actually getting you moving from having that initial thought to actually acting on it. And we've got a 5-second window of opportunity here. So let's say that you see somebody you want to approach, and what normally happens, you look at them, you assess them, you watch them for a little while, and your interest grows, and you think, yeah, that's somebody I'd like to know better. But what's going to happen if I approach them? Maybe they're with friends who are going to come over and they're going to say, who's this you're talking to? And then they're all going to laugh at you as you go red, as you blush, and you can't think of anything to say. You haven't got that natural banter that maybe your friends have, and you can't just talk back and forth and be relaxed. You're going to be too self-conscious. Maybe that person has a partner who's suddenly going to come over and catch you trying to chat up their girlfriend or their boyfriend. And again, you're going to be stuck there, embarrassed and not knowing what to do, apologising and backing away, however you visualise it in your mind. Or maybe you don't visualise their friends coming over while you're making that initial contact, but maybe you're thinking, well, okay, I'm going to say hi, and then they're going to say hi back, and then what am I going to say? I've got nothing to say. My mind goes blank in these scenarios. So why would I put myself in that situation when I know that my mind is going to go blank and I'm not going to be able to think of anything to say? So all that's going to happen is that I'm going to approach this person, I'm going to say hi, and then that's it. Nothing else is going to happen unless they put in the work of talking to you. But you've approached them, so it's on you to do the initial legwork of warming up the conversation from a cold start, right? You're the one that's initiated it. But when you have a blank mind and your mind closes down through stress or anxiety, and your mind closes up shop, leaving you with no way to access your mind and the thoughts that are in there, so you're stuck in this scenario and you're relying on the other person to do the talking. But this is not right, is it? We know this. And so, knowing that this is likely to happen, you don't ever approach the person and put yourself in that situation. So you stay sitting on that bar stool, wherever it is you're sitting, and you continue nursing that drink, and you continue watching that person and imagining what it would be like to be on a date with him, or to actually have that person as a partner, as a girlfriend or a boyfriend or a husband, a wife. You imagine a future with that person, or you just imagine one date, or you just imagine one conversation, and you keep watching that person and you're trying to pluck up the courage. Maybe you drink a little bit to build up some Dutch courage, but by the time you've decided that you're going to go for it or you're not going to go for it, they've moved on, they've moved away, they've started talking to somebody else, and the window of opportunity is closed. That's what normally happens, right? And how many opportunities have you missed out on because of this over-talking, overthinking, this fatalist scenarios that your inner voice is throwing up desperately to talk you out of putting yourself in that situation that where embarrassment may occur from it. It was John Cleese who said, an Englishman's mission in life is to get from the cradle to the grave without being embarrassed. I thought I'd just throw that in there. Yes, so there is a few, I've heard a few quotes relating to this very issue that we're talking about, where you can't actually make that initial start. Now, I was watching a film once called We Bought the Zoo with Matt Damon, and his boy, his son, was trying to pluck up the courage to go and talk to a girl. I think it was a neighbour who had just moved into the area, and the boy, he fancied the girl and he wanted to talk to her, but he didn't have the courage or the confidence, and so he wasn't doing it. It's the timeless story, right? And so Matt Damon, he turns to his son and he says, sometimes we just need 20 seconds of insane courage. Just 20 seconds of embarrassing, whatever the quote is, it's something like that. 20 seconds of embarrassing, putting yourself out there to do this. And if you do it, then great things will come out of it. But you have to endure those 20 seconds of excruciating, embarrassing seconds of actually approaching and initiating contact and saying hello and how are you? How's your day? How are you enjoying your life? Just making that initial contact though, and once it's done, it's done. But 20 seconds is a long time. And I was developing a program at this time for conversational skills and overcoming shyness and social anxiety and building up confidence. All these three things, these three elements I was building into a course I was creating at the time. And one of the modules I was developing was based on a 7-second window of opportunity to get yourself moving. And as I was creating this module, a book came out. It was published by Mel Robbins and it was called The 5-Second Rule. So now we're getting from 20 to 7 to 5. But Mel Robbins had taken it to the whole new level. And she had written an entire book based on the 5-second rule. And that was what impressed me more than anything, that she'd been able to write an entire book based on a 5-second thing. And her impression, her approach to it was, well, you have 5 seconds to act before that inner voice takes over and talks you out of it. A 5-second window is like when you wake up in the morning and you don't immediately think about the day's events and what's ahead. You have let's say about a 5-second window before all the day's thoughts rush in. And I think it's called the hypnagogic or the hypnopompic. It's one or the other. When you go to sleep and when you wake up, these two little periods in between, like a sandwich. One is called hypnopompic and one is called hypnagogic. And it's a little 5-second window when you wake up and your brain hasn't really yet connected. And it's that little 5-second window. And again, you find that 5-second window when you hurt yourself. When you fall down, maybe you graze your arm. You don't immediately feel pain. You know it's on the way, but you've got a little window of opportunity. Not opportunity, but a little window before the pain arrives. And it's the same here. You have a thought. You want to act on the thought. And you've got a few seconds, let's say a 5-second window. It might be even smaller than that. But let's say it's 5 seconds. Let's stick with Mel Robbins and say it's 5 seconds. And within that 5 seconds, you have got to act. And if you don't, if you go beyond the 5 seconds, then the chances are that you're not going to act at all. And your inner voice is going to crowd in and it's going to talk you out of it. So, Mel Robbins' approach is to say, well, do a countdown. You have the idea, the thought, you see the person, you whatever the decision is, whatever it is that you want to do. She began her book with the example of getting out of bed in the morning. You wake up and you have a decision to make. Do you get out of bed or do you hit the snooze button and go back to sleep? And she says, well, you do a countdown, you have that impulse, that thought, and you do an immediate countdown before you do anything else. You say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then go, and you act on it. And it's like a rocket launch. You get to 1 and you act without thought, without giving the inner voice a chance to act and talk you out of it. You make the move and you act on the impulse before you can talk yourself out of it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And that's stage 1 of this 5-stage or 5-part process. You see somebody that you want to talk to, and you get off that stool, you put your drink down, and you get moving immediately. You can count down from 5 to 1 if you like. But I've in the next stages 2 and 3 and 4, I've got other suggestions for you. But the key part of this is that the crucial part of stage 1 is to get moving before you can sort yourself out of it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And then in the stage 2, in the next live stream, I'm going to address that little voice in your mind right now that might be saying that little. Sorry, I think my phone said I've got 20% battery life left. I don't know if it paused the video. Let's see. But anyway, I'm wrapping up now. So, next live stream will be stage 2, and it's going to address that little voice in your head that might be telling you right now that, hey, I'm not going to do this because I know that once I reach that person, it's okay to say, well, get moving. But I know that when I reach that person, I'm going to have nothing to say. My mind is going to go blank. I'm going to have no patter. I've got no banter. I'm not an interesting person. Whatever that voice has told you in the past, it's probably telling you right now as I'm talking. This is the reason why I'm not going to follow you. I'm not going to learn your 5-stage process, whatever it's telling you. But stick with it. Stick with me. And just listen to the next live stream and what comes next. Because, hey, it's all right to say, okay, let's get moving before you can stop and think about it. But we all know, if you've got shyness or social anxiety, you know that you get to meeting that person and it's all going to go wrong. It's all going to unravel. So you're not even going to start that. You're not even going to think about approaching them because you know that the end result is not looking good. That's why I've got 5 stages for you. Not just one, not just, oh, go and do it. Just talk to people more. I'm sure you've heard that before. Just talk to people more. Just talk up more. Just speak up more. Don't be so quiet. Just speak up for yourself. And that's just like me saying, get off your stool and start approaching that person, and then ending it there without any further advice or suggestion. No, that's only stage 1. Stick with me through these live streams all the way through to stage 5, and then I'll do another live stream to consolidate it all. And then I'm going to create, my phone has just told me I've got 10% left, so I've got to wrap this up fast. So I'm going to go through these live streams, and then I'm going to put the training together, and I'm going to make it a free access for you. And I'll talk about that more in the next live stream. So for now, I need to wrap up this quickly before my phone abandons me, just like a blank mind abandons us in a conversation, right? So stick around for the next live stream, and we'll talk about stage 2.